Let's take a look at this diagram here. If you're on your phone, it's hard to see. I'm sorry, it's easier to see on a desktop, but I will talk through this whole speaking slide so that hopefully you can understand what I'm talking about. What are the noisy hormones? We already went through. Yes, they're insulin and cortisol. They're the noisiest, the ultimate hormonal disruptors, the apex predators of our hormonal and metabolic system and our health and life, to be truthful. And they are the stirrers of the pot, so to speak. But what do they stir and who do they bother and what chaos comes from it? Let's take a look. First, we talked about in the last lesson how insulin impacts ghrelin and leptin, two hormones. Very important. Ghrelin. It's spelled Ghrelin. It looks like gremlin. It's just like a gremlin. It can be nasty when you get it upset. Keep it after midnight and it gets all worked up. Just kidding. Ghrelin with the H, GH, that's hunger. Think hunger. Ghrelin, hunger. Insulin makes ghrelin go up. Certain foods, when you eat them, will turn on ghrelin even higher so that when you eat them, you get hungrier. It's things like fructose. Okay, especially when it comes in a liquid, quick absorbable form, like from a drink or a juice. Fructose turns up hunger by activating ghrelin. So does insulin. If you have a meal that has fructose in it and something that jacks up insulin really high, like say uh, you have a soda beverage that's got sugar and fructose in it, and you're eating, say, French fries, now you just got a high insulin response, hyperinsulin response, very high, about as high as you get 700% higher than normal because of that potato and how we cooked it, right? In the insulin response. So boom, insulin goes up, it raises ghrelin, and now you're adding in fructose, which also increases ghrelin, and you get hungrier. You want more. You eat junk food, you eat empty foods, and you want more and more and more. That's part of the addiction pathway. The addiction pathway comes from fructose originally in our ancient system. It's still here. It saved our species, saved our life in time. Now it's killing us. Leptin. Leptin is that satiation hormone. So leptin turns up slowly as we eat, and that's what turns off our desire for more. We get satisfied. There's a difference between feeling satisfied from food and feeling stuffed or feeling that you can't eat anymore. They're very different. You want to be able to eat to satisfaction. You need leptin to work. And when insulin's on the scene, it drops leptin and it creates leptin resistance. Sometimes it can even go higher. Like in obesity, it goes higher, so high that it can't be heard anymore. The same leptin resistance is like insulin resistance. So either way, you don't get satisfied. So now you're hungrier and you don't get satisfied from what you're eating, so you eat more and more and overeat. That's why people can eat the majority, tons and tons of food in the first 10 minutes, because it takes time for your body to recognize it through this hormonal response. And by the time it does, in 10 minutes, you can do 2 pizzas, right? All right, you get it now. So insulin's messing with ghrelin and leptin. Insulin, it has an inverse relationship with human growth hormone. Human growth hormone, or HGH, is our feel-good hormone. It's our muscle maintaining and building hormone. It's our skin beautifying hormone. It's our eyes and hair hormone. It's been called, and there's books on it, I've read the number of them. One of them is called the fountain of youth hormone. Human growth hormone, right? So it's inverse relationship. I have a picture here of a teeter-totter. If you remember it, I don't think they even have teeter-totters anymore. I don't want to go into that or what that means to me and where I am in life, but here's how they work. Teeter-totter's flat. You put a weight on one side, the other side goes up, right? Put a weight on the other side, it can balance out or go up, and when kids are on it, they go back and forth, up and down. It's a playground little ride, and they have a good time. So think of a teeter-totter with insulin on one side and human growth hormone on the other side. When insulin goes up, growth hormone goes down. There's no other way. They both can't be up and they both can't be down, right? And so when insulin drops, that allows growth hormone to go up. You can't just shove growth hormone in there to allow it to go up. It doesn't work that way. Remember, insulin's the boss. What insulin says goes. Insulin always wins. Just like with vitamin D. There's a teeter-totter with vitamin D and insulin resistance. You can take all the vitamin D you want. You can take 100,000 units a day. That still won't go up to a natural, normal, unsupplemented state unless you get that insulin resistance down. So on this teeter-totter, unlike a true teeter-totter that it's weight dependent, this is insulin dependent. So you have to drop insulin in order for human growth hormone to go up. That's the way it works. So if you're working out and you're getting in shape and you want that growth hormone to come in and help you with build those muscles, help you maintain them in different things that you're doing, you want to get that fountain of youth look, feel, skin, eyes, nails, everything about it, then you got to get insulin down. You cannot force it up. You cannot take it. You can't do anything like that to make it do anything it doesn't want to do. This is the exact reason why I tell people that the post-workout forced meal or shake concept is not a good idea. You just worked out. You just told your body you're working out. You break it down a little bit of muscle. You're getting ready for the rebuild to get stronger the next time you do it. And at the same time, you go have that meal and you crank up insulin. What did you just do? You just worked out to bring up growth hormone to get you ready to be better, and then you intentionally slam insulin and push it back down. Not a good idea. All right, so human growth hormone and insulin inversely related. Now cortisol has one of those buddies too. Cortisol, our stress hormone, has a teeter-totter with oxytocin. Oxytocin is a very, very underappreciated, under-recognized hormone. It's our love hormone. It's our bonding, mom to baby, dad to baby, man to wife, in a relationship, any two people, family, sisters, brothers, partners, you name it. It's our bonding, our connection hormone, right? It is very, very important. It opens up our brain to creative thinking, to honesty, to truthfulness, right? To all these different things that we want when we think of intimate and personal relationships and connection. Guess what? The stress hormone cortisol works on that teeter-totter. So every time you're jamming up cortisol, you're suppressing oxytocin. You can't have both going at the same time. So you want that. If you're in a discussion with someone in a relationship and you're having an honest discussion, you're in an intimate relationship having this discussion, and you jack up cortisol, you just shut down the bonding, connecting part of the brain and body. You just disconnected. That's why I'm not a fan of the concept of vulnerability. I never want to be vulnerable in an interpersonal relationship with another person, nor do I want them to feel like they're vulnerable. Why? Because by definition, vulnerability has an inherent risk of attack, right? A risk of attack or harm. If you have even a thought that you're being vulnerable and you have a risk of attack or harm, guess what happens? Stress hormone goes up, oxytocin goes down. What's the point of having the conversation? So what I do is, I think that's going on, I stop it and we prepare better. We make sure we get to a point where they never feel vulnerable. I never feel vulnerable, but I can feel honest. I can feel open. I can stretch my truthfulness in what I'm doing. Because what will happen then? Cortisol will stay down, and oxytocin will keep going, and you'll bond and connect with that person. Very important. Sorry, side note on vulnerability there. Now look up on the top, DHEA. That is a hormone that is mostly influenced through our diet that makes testosterone and estrogen, right? Very important. So that's the insulin side coming in, makes testosterone and estrogen, very important. And then there's the SHGB, sex hormone binding globulin, right? It's not important to know, but every hormone has a binder. Okay, they're powerful. Hormones are the most powerful substance in our body. Amazingly powerful, so powerful that every time they're secreted, some of it gets bound up to protect ourselves. We can't give 100% purity; it will go off the charts, right? It can be harmful, so it binds some of it. So when you hear about testosterone and free testosterone, there's testosterone in general, and what gets bound leaves the free testosterone open, right? So what isn't bound is free, and what is bound is part of testosterone, but not free testosterone. That's how it works. And so insulin can impact the ratios there. So if you think you have low T or symptoms of, or even a number on the charts, then you can choose to flood your system with more testosterone, like hormone replacement therapy. I don't think that's a great idea, nor the best choice to start is to improve that ratio of the sex hormone binding globulin so you bind less and have more of what you already have. You will feel the dramatic change. Most people don't need more. They need to use what they have more efficiently. Insulin and cortisol play a role in that, right? Very important. Aldosterone. You'll hear about, because we're doing a prep and planning concept for fasting. When people fast, they take salts, they eat salts, and I recommend salts, a lot of salts. We're talking teaspoon or more of whole sea salt for myself every day leading into a fast, every day in general that I am eating, and sometimes while I'm fasting. And people say it helps, right? I'm feeling wonky, take some salt, I feel better. Aldosterone is the gatekeeper hormone for minerals. Insulin has a direct relationship with aldosterone, right? And when you're not eating and those oxalates we talked about from plants aren't flooding the system on the way in and they start flooding the system on the way out, you start to feel that shift because oxalates bind with minerals. And then you take the minerals, you feel a little bit better. You're not going deficient, you just feel the change. We feel the change, rapid change we feel. It doesn't matter if we go too high or too low, we can still feel it and it can impact us. So aldosterone and insulin have a relationship that you want to know, and too much insulin will keep aldosterone from doing everything that it can. And that's calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, and a whole iodine for thyroid and a whole lot more. So there's a relationship there. Very important. And then I have on here body serotonin. Everyone thinks about the serotonin in the brain and the dopamine in the brain. Serotonin is the feel good, dopamine is the pleasure. So serotonin is the relaxation, dopamine is pleasure. Okay, that's why food is addictive, because when you eat it, you trigger those neurotransmitters and you start to feel good, right? Instantly, because it's a hormonal reaction. It's not your food in your system. And then you feel good about yourself because you just got the pleasure from eating it in the dopamine. Double whammy, very addictive. Got to be careful. Insulin plays a big role, and that's what also drives cravings and emotional eating and hunger afterwards. So the less of those foods that crank insulin unnaturally high, as in a hypersecretion, we mentioned them yesterday for the takeaways, processed foods, powder-based foods, foods you have to cook a long time to eat, potatoes, rice, beans, things like that. Those all will have an unnatural hypersecretion of insulin and throw that system off, give you the feel good feeling, but it's also a negative, right? That's what makes them addictive. It's also a negative. So the body serotonin, you drop your insulin levels, your normal serotonin flux will come back, and that's what keeps us calm. It's part of the anti-inflammatory nature of the body. It also affects the brain. It's very important. The whole body goes into a detoxification state, an anti-inflammatory state, and all these guys need to be playing nice together. So insulin and cortisol, bullies on the playground. Some of the big players that they really scare away are ghrelin for hunger, leptin for satiation, DHEA, which can change our testosterone and estrogen, and then sex hormone binding globulin, which allows us to use what we have in our system, aldosterone for all the minerals, body serotonin for how we feel, oxytocin for our love hormone and connection and bonding with people and understanding, and human growth hormone, our fountain of youth hormone that keeps us young, feeling young, looking young, and is one of the best natural sources of the fountain of youth concept of keeping us well and healthy throughout life. Very important. So that's the noisy hormones. That's how insulin and cortisol, the bully and the minion, impact all of them. Hope that made sense.